We like the cars that go boom. We're Tigra and Bunny, and we like the boom.
Takes my pain back to breathe out of another thing. I know it's in my heart and baby down in my soul. You, baby, you can't take it no more. No, I know I'm walking out that door the way you treated me too many times before. Don't you know you love me, baby, too? Oh, you know I want you there, I wanna be right there with you. I know I gotta keep you by my side till the day I die.
Alright. Live stream. When will you be back, live stream? I miss you, live stream. I miss sitting there brooding at how few people could actually fucking get the notification for the broadcast. I miss wondering how many people that used to watch and comment on the videos. Like, there used to be dozens of them. And they all got to see me proven right, and then they disappeared. I miss the days when I gave a fuck enough to actually brush my hair. These are not those days. Anyways, so the Merface is reading the JFK files. But before we go into that, welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good morrow, Abbott. Hey, Abbott! And if it's your birthday, happy birthday. Welcome to the Lost Begotten channel. The only place where you can possibly learn how to understand all of this shit. Otherwise, it just becomes a never-ending fucking nexus of wondering what the fuck. Once you learn the stuff that I teach, it's just all like, oh, I feel like a dumbass. And that's really like the best hyperbolic, silly fucking way I can explain it, but, you know. It's what I went with just now. And I don't do retakes. I'm using a live streaming software to film a video right now. Because I'm a moron. But, you know, we're going to move past that. After I light a cigarette and take a sip of some coffee. In quintessential Lost Begotten style. Oh. So, yes. This is the first channel to have associated many things. Some of these things have been confirmed by credible news reports as well as mainstream media. There is a difference, you know. And then there's also just outright Russian-backed propaganda like Fox News. Anyways. So previously on this channel, we've basically proven and discussed at length all of these topics. And you can go back and view the entire archive for yourself if you'd like to. But let's see, I haven't actually updated the playlists myself recently. And some of the people that I regret trusting arrange some of this for me. But some of it's very handy. As you can see, I was basically warning about what's going on now, not just last year before the election, but an entire year before that. And that's just on YouTube. Before YouTube, I had a group on Facebook called Support Ukraine USA. And, well, turns out I thought that Facebook was kind of suppressing my efforts there. And recently, that's been confirmed. And the Ukrainians, like myself, were basically being called racist against Russians for complaining about the Russians invading their country. And if you don't know who the Russians are, that's these guys. The ones who back most of the conspiracies that you'll find on YouTube. See, I don't care that my hair is like this. I just want it to do the same thing on both sides. Or just do the same thing on both sides. That's all I ask. It's like all one way. It's kind of distracting. It's like it's making me feel like I should be leaning that way. It's like, is that kind of, is this the direction of my impeller? If I spin, can I create a current out of my face? She is just not even paying attention. JFK documents. JFK documents. She's so dead. Anyway, so we have proven that the Cold War never ended, and that in fact it goes back a whole lot further than you think. Oh, and I did find one map that I forgot to show y'all, but I haven't put it on this machine yet. I've been rearranging and recopying my archives here, and I've come across some interesting stuff. I might do a video on again here shortly. But so yeah, we've proven things like it was actually the Chechens deployed from Georgia, and formerly Georgia, Chechnya, Dagestan, lots of different white-looking but Islamic-dominated areas of Russia. And I mean, we've proven this with just many footage, stills, photos, and we know where exactly they came from, how they got their initial slew of weaponry, and why they were powerful enough to overwhelm the Iraqi forces, and why the Iraqi forces actually just retreated, because they knew it was basically Russians coming. Anyway, part of that deal they were doing was part of the peace they were trying to make. Russia was just bullying us out of the whole fucking area. Meanwhile, they were setting us against each other by making white people go, Obama! It was all way too fucking easy for them, quite frankly. Especially with the help of no one, because most of the Hollywood producers are communists, and they didn't really see exactly what fucking Putin was up to until it was too late. And thus we have climate change failing to be presented as poor stewardship, because, you can't talk about Christianity if you're affiliated with Hollywood producers unless you make a straw man argument ascribing hypocrites to the greater picture of Christianity, even though they all have a cognitive disconnect when recognizing that, what Republicans are doing is not very Jesus-like. Anyways. And, yeah, we've gone over how the KGB and the Russians in general have set up far-left groups and then set up far-right groups like the neo-Nazis, the Nazis, the KKK, and whatever other dumbasses they can get to fall for their propaganda, left or right-wing propaganda. We've covered how Christianity was actually once a religion that you didn't have to pick and choose between revering divine, feminine or masculine. Okay, and the only choice being given to you by Hollywood, coincidentally enough, is, oh, could it be that they just revered the feminine? Perhaps they revered both? That's a religion called Johanngism, where John the Baptist actually was the Messiah, and the two characters that were preaching were John and his wife. Anyways, and that's one of the reasons why John went into the wilderness, was his wife being murdered. Kind of a good reason, isn't it? Anyways. So, we've discussed how Ancient Aliens were basically a conspiracy to cover up the footprints of demons and evil people in all of this. And even historical people. Demons, semi-demigods, semi-demi-mini-gods. Nuclear weapons, yes, we've determined that those were basically dirty air fuel bombs, radiation-enhanced napalm, made to disperse before ignition, creating a gigantic fucking fireball. We've discussed and proven consistently, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that most of the seemingly prosperous for no reason type YouTube channels that just fucking echo the same shit are all basically KGB shills, Kremlin shills. And yes, in modern terminology, KGB has become FSB, but it's all the KGB to me, okay? This includes the Google algorithmic conspiracy of the Mandela effect, which is also meant to cover up the real Google algorithmic conspiracy of just being shit and skewing search results away from anything centrist or democratic and towards crazy fucking conspiracy theories, basically. Google does that. And all these crazy conspiracy theories about the Illuminati, etc., are all fucking KGB shit. MK Ultra, KGB. UFOs, KGB. But today, we're going to be doing something different. And despite the long intro, this video is about none of those things. Today, we have breaking news!
My reading space just got violated.
Breaking news. I have figured out to arrange some sort of a graphic thing. And also, we've solved the the Kennedy assassination. Shit, did I give it away? Fucking Freudian slip. Damn it, I'm sorry. I did not mean to do that. That was not a planned joke or anything. I was trying to say Kennedy and just fucking... I was trying to say Kennedy assassination. Just KGB just came right out. I didn't. I was going to read that, not... Just going, oh, man, I didn't... Gave it away. If you haven't figured it out already, I want you to know that your mind is completely enslaved. And you could deal with a good exorcism, first of all. And then once you've learned how to actually grasp your connection with God and nature and spirit, then relearn everything you thought you knew. But for starters, let's take a look here. Multiple shooters theory debunked by the route change that has been uncovered. Okay, that's actually something that was previously uncovered, released. Well, unless the KGB was involved, because the only group capable of overcoming those odds, that is, dispersing enough different radicalized gunmen to take any possible route, to have any possible shot. And it's not just a matter of, can they get them? It's a matter of, did multiple shooters get him? So did they have enough people to where more than one gunman could take a shot at him? Not just one guy would get lucky? only the KGB had that kind of resources. Especially when you consider the newly uncovered connection between the KGB and the Mafia, and take a retrospective analysis of that connection. You see clearly KGB Mafia. It just all connects too easily, actually. Now, what nobody's talking about lately, what most people who are older, who've been wondering about this for a long time, have on their minds is, what about the babushka lady? The answer is a red and orange, often floral, scarf-like piece of cloth called a babushka are how female KGB supervisors indicate themselves during operations. Kind of like how the Womans would have a really bad hair day and paint it red. Look at me, I'm in command of a legion. Whoa, surf's up, dude. Maybe if I just zoom my head in, y'all can just look at nothing but forehead. There we go, that's a little less distracting for me anyways. Or. I could get my sunglasses on the floor so the kids can come step on them.
Speaking of kids, child in the back.
Well, should I pause it? A hat has magically appeared. It was teleported there by the pause button. The rest of that sentence was stir the beans, but it gave me an excuse to do something retarded, so there I go. Anyways. Nice. Well, and it's just fucking dragging now, isn't it? In many different intelligence publications, specifically ones made by the CIA, it has been taught and trained to intelligence officers and analysts. This fact: the red scarf means you're a Communist Party person. Okay? And this was confirmed to me when I saw the Russians invading Ukraine. There would always be some old lady with a fucking red scarf, and she would be speaking quietly to the people who were locals, and then she would kind of coordinate the harassment of reporters. Anyway. And participate in it. And, sometimes help beat people to death. Now, the question is, could anybody besides the KGB have done this? Well, the fact of the matter is you have to cognitively disconnect the multiple shooter scenario in order to put blame off of the KGB. So, no, because otherwise the evidence contradicts itself. I.e., the magic bullet theory covers up the multiple shooters, and therefore covers up the KGB. being it is the only agency at the time who could have pulled this off. The CIA couldn't have even found enough, like, leftist or whatever radicals and gotten in with them and bribed, like, that's just like the messiest sounding fucking operation, trying to get your enemy at the time to do something so dirty for you. They would so fucking set you up for it. Like, why would the CIA want fucking Kennedy? Castro wanted Kennedy dead. The Soviets controlled Castro. He was just their puppet. Okay? He coordinated the Weather Underground and many different aspects of extremist groups in this country on behalf of the Soviet Union. Whenever these people wanted asylum to get to Russia, they would go to fucking Cuba. They would go to a Cuban embassy in Canada, for instance. This is fact. You can look that shit up. Or you can just go watch the freaking CIA training videos. They're right here on YouTube. But anyways, the Kennedy assassination mystery has been solved. Lee Harvey Oswald was a Communist Party member with ties to the mafia, and he was recorded speaking in Russian to a known KGB agent. Now, CIA mafia ties, that impression that you have in your head regarding ties between the CIA and the mafia, are an avenue by which you can find what reporters were traitors to this country. Okay? These are wolves in sheep's clothing. A lot of them are people who say they are Jews and aren't. Okay? Also helping with the whole promotion of neo-Nazi groups, by the way. Making it harder for real Jews to even fucking want to live. Here especially. CIA mafia ties are Russian propaganda disseminated at the time through Fidel Castro and the Weather Underground, and now through groups like Alex Jones, RT, and interestingly enough, the old conservative high guard, Fox News, all anti-fucking government. That's basically what they are now. They sound just like RT. Now, the Trump administration held release of documents for what? It was more than 24 hours. Why? What did they need to go through those for? What did they even know enough about to go through those for? By the way, JBJ does not endorse or condone the views of the Lost Begotten channel. You probably don't even know what JBJ is. It's for me to know and you to find out. Just realized I was wearing somebody's hat. So, why did they hold those documents? Well, we know Russia's involved in the Kennedy assassination. We know Russia's involved with Trump. Now we have Trump covering Russia's ass, basically doing their bidding and manipulating the American people against their own government, rather than acknowledging the truth that's been lingering in under lock and key for how many decades? The Trump administration held the release of documents so that they could redact anything that implicated Russia, either directly or even speculatively. There was one at the end of that paper that you had found that it's blacked out at the end. That was a speculation that it could have been Russia. I wish that was, I could remember.
There are over 6,700 files to go through, that would be
You
very...
said you had found it just a couple seconds ago.
It was another one, not that particular one. They were talking about apparently two separate documents, and the one that I found was not that one. That was a complete document.
But that was covered on, I believe it was CBS News' little scroll through. We were sitting there pausing it and reading it as they were sitting there showing it scrolled through. I knew what they were going to do before I even saw that. It's just fucking painfully obvious to me. And all of these things that may appear to somebody who's a novice at this as presumptive. Check my record. I call it like it is. Every single time. Now, Donald Trump has known ties to the same Russian mafia, and it is the Russian mafia, not the Italian mafia. It's always been the Russian mafia. The Italian mafia even got their guns from who? The Russian mafia. As well as direct ties. Get this. Donald Trump has direct ties to Larry Silverstein, the World Trade Center over. Now, if Russia has ties to Islamofascists, to terrorism, and actually the Soviet Union historically had always supported Islamofascist jihadism, and this other little thing that people don't seem to understand is that the Taliban was never assisted by the CIA. I don't know if you realize that, but the Taliban was never fucking assisted by the CIA. And did I mention that the Taliban was never assisted by the CIA? That's because the Taliban, guess what, was never assisted by the CIA. There was a group of Mujahideen fighters that the Taliban was helping, that the CIA was helping, in addition to a fairly moderate, non-Sharia political party that was trying to gain influence. And we tried to make peace between them, but they kind of weren't a very good match. And Russia backed a group called the Taliban, which kicked their asses 3 months later. After the Soviets left. The Soviets simply funded a group of Muslims to take control. And they've been doing basically that ever since. And, well, if Russia ties to Trump and Russia ties to the Taliban, and the Taliban was protecting bin Laden, and Trump just happens to being connected to Russia in so many ways, and the Russian mafia in so many ways, who killed our fucking president, God rest his soul. Excuse my language, but I get emotional about this. It's called the Cassandra Complex. You should understand, Cassandra was right. Donald Trump, connected to the Russian mafia, and to the Kremlin, and to Kremlin intelligence, and has been since the 80s, before the Cold War ended, supposedly, has positioned himself very well, very strategically, ever since. And his friendship with Larry Silverstein is very telling. The exact nature of their relationship is that Larry Silverstein is Donald Trump's real estate attorney in New York City. Larry Silverstein himself is not an extremely wealthy man. He's a real estate lawyer. Technically, barely even white collar. The Cold War never ended. We succumbed to propaganda. Our minds have been enslaved. That propaganda came from Russia. All of it. It was presented as far left and far right, but a lot of it went down, straight down the center, and passed itself off as educational and informative, popular and cool. Well, there's a reason why it's cool to look like somebody who can't get a job. And that alone should release you of your underestimation of how much smarter they are than we are. Stop blaming the CIA. The CIA was desperate. Look at what they were trying to put forth. This is all we got. We don't have the manpower or the capability to fight them with what they're doing. And those are just contingencies. Those are ideas. You can't, and you know, that selective redaction of Russian involvement is also meant to incriminate by taking away the desperation from the CIA. See, if you don't understand that the Cold War was existential, and that, you know, obliteration was a distinct possibility on the back of President Kennedy's mind, you can't really get the context of what those people were doing there. And you really can't get the context of what Russia has been doing to the United States ever since. Got anything interesting you want to bring up before I go?
Not anything that's coherent yet.
So, the Merface is still gathering info on the reports. But, hopefully one day soon we'll be able to do a Q&A live stream type thing, but in the meantime, RooTube still won't let me live stream, so I guess we're SOL. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please click the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Check your subscription if you are a subscriber, because the subscribers may just subscriptions may just disappear from the judicial system in the flooding pot.
And it's just a step to the left.
And a step to the right. Good night, everybody. Good morning. Have a good day.
Happy birthday!
Merry Christmas. Oh, oh, oh. Merry Unchristmas.
didn't say